Well, welcome back. While many are committed to continuing important conversations on human rights, having an open and truly honest discussion can be challenging, especially in the workplace.
Founder and CEO of CKP Communications Group, Carey Kirkpatrick, is here to share advice on how to navigate these sensitive issues in the workplace. Welcome back, Carey. It's great to see you. And what Courtney said, I think, is so true. We've mentioned on the show over the past couple of weeks, we have talked about race relations. We have talked about social injustice. We've talked about gay rights. And inevitably, in addition to having these conversations with our family, with our friends, it's going to come up at work. So where do we begin?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think what you're saying is so important. This isn't really a local or a temporary issue. This conversation is happening everywhere, and that includes the American workplace. So a great place to begin. You want to make sure that that you're educated about whatever the issue is that you're going to talk about with your team first. Make sure that you do all of the reading that you need to do, all of the preparation, so that you're as informed as possible from multiple points of view, so that you can really be responsible in leading a conversation. You want to be proactive in leading that conversation. A lot of people avoid a discussion because it makes them personally uncomfortable. You don't have the option to do that now. You have to have a conversation with your team, even if you feel uncomfortable talking about the subject. But preparing yourself by educating and reading and doing your research is going to help you be more comfortable. It's really important to have a situation where you can acknowledge the feelings of the people you're working with. When you acknowledge feelings, you're giving room to express those feelings and helping your team feel comfortable having that opportunity to express themselves. But the flip side of that is you don't want to pressure your team into sharing, into participating in the conversation. If they don't want to participate, that's okay. It's not required to share and to participate. But listening and hearing and engaging in that way, is an important part of that process. The other thing I would think about is having some kind of internal protocol for addressing sensitive issues. They're going to happen. And if you've thought through how to structure a conversation, that's going to be really helpful for you.
And Carey, the end result here is really to create a healthier work environment. And sometimes, we're told, there are certain things that you shouldn't talk about at work, right? Race relations, religion, all of these things kind of fall under that umbrella. And I think right now we are expanding that because everybody needs to feel comfortable. Everybody needs to feel welcome. And let's talk about if somebody has that conflicting opinion, it's not if, but when that awkward conversation is going to happen. So how do you deal with that?
Yeah, so, conflict in the workplace is inevitable. It's going to happen. And it doesn't matter what the issue is. It could be about the highly sensitive issues we're talking about now, or it could be something completely inconsequential. It's going to happen. So it's important to address the conflict rather than avoiding it. Like you said, Courtney, you want a healthy work environment. And if you're avoiding issues, then you're creating stress and you're promoting an environment where colleagues don't necessarily trust each other. So you want a healthy work environment where people feel like they can have discussions and trust their coworkers. So how do you do that? You have these structured conversations where it's okay to infuse a little bit of structure and have ground rules. You want to make sure people understand what's okay and what's not okay to talk about. And that's something you have to come up with yourself for your team. So, applying the structure, agreeing at the beginning of the conversation about why you're all having this discussion, and identifying some goals that you can work towards through the discussion. A really important part of having a discussion is listening and making sure that you're listening carefully and actively to what others are saying. And then throughout the conversation, identifying points of agreement and disagreement. And on those points of disagreement, really talking through and unpacking how you can work to resolve that issue. And then, this might sound a little silly, but having a mechanism as part of the conversation that you can just trigger to exit the conversation if it's really getting derailed from the ultimate goal. So, this idea of like going to a party and you have a code word, it's okay to have a code word in this kind of discussion.
And Carey, we're just about out of time. We have less than 30 seconds left, but common mistakes to avoid at work, whether you're a manager or an employee.
Yeah, I mean, the most important one, I think, is to be prepared. Don't shoot from the hip when you're having a conversation. Go into the conversation prepared, avoid impulsive emotional responses, and just prepare yourself in advance.
These are all great tips. Carey Kirkpatrick, founder and CEO of CKP Communications Group. This conversation needs to continue, but we have to do it right where everybody feels comfortable. We do appreciate your insight and input today.
Thank you.